He's the popular Mike Tirico, joining us from the U.S. Open. Where are you right now, Mike?
I am looking at the practice putting green and the first tee here at beautiful Erin Hills. Just got off the live from Golf Channel set. Did 3 hours with Justin Leonard and Mark Rolfing, and we're banging that out every morning. And then Fox is on for about, I think, 10 hours, and then the guys are on Golf Central at night to wrap it up.
I thought the course was supposed to be tough. Is it?
It is. I mean, look at what Dustin and Rory and those guys were doing, and what they shot, and Jason Day and the issues they had, where it's very fair if you are in position. If you're in position off the tee, you got a chance, and 65 is a real chance. That's what Rickie Fowler shot. I think you'll see 68, maybe not as good a scoring today, but you'll see a 68 is my guess out there today. The problem is, if you are crooked off the tee, you have no chance, and that's what happened with those guys yesterday. So to me, that's the biggest issue. If you're in position, you can play. If you're not, no shot.
Is it a European feel to this golf course?
No, because, and you look at it, it's a great question, too, because you see the tall grass, the fescue, and when you see that, you think, okay, this is just like a British Open. But the difference is so many of the greens are perched up and elevated, so you can't bump it in. You can't hit that 7-iron 25 yards short and kind of bounce it all the way into the green. That's a very different feel. You get that at every links course, playing over in Ireland or Scotland. You can't do that necessarily on these greens at all. You've got to fly it in the air and get it on the green.
If Rickie Fowler wins, what does it mean for the sport? I know we're always looking for something bigger with golf, and maybe I'm not phrasing it correctly, but it feels like Rickie is ready, like he's, we were waiting for Sergio. It's like he's Andre Agassi of golf. We're waiting for him to now be a champion.
I'm not out on tour nearly as much as the people on a regular basis like Steve Sands and the rest of the guys who do golf full-time. But I do know when I've come out, majors, Ryder Cup, Rickie Fowler is the guy who brings the young fans. You see a whole bunch of kids in the orange Puma hat, the flat-brimmed hat. They love Rickie's style. There's a style and a youth and a connection there that is different than any of the other young, talented players. And I think if he did win, it would be the best boost that golf could get. Look, the Woods-Mickelson era is essentially done. Their dominant era. We'll see. Certainly, Phil, who knows about Tiger, again in major championships. But this is the first major in '93 that neither one of them is starting. And in more than half of them, one, if not both, were in the top 5. So they were always here. They always played well, and they were always part of the story.
Yeah.
If neither one of them, it's not like Dustin or Jordan or the other guys get people to run to the TV like Mickelson and Woods did. I'm not saying Fowler would do that, but he would get a good, energetic, youthful boost in the game that it could always use.
What sport is having a harder time getting out from underneath the big umbrella that the iconic star put out there, with Michael Jordan with the NBA or Tiger Woods with the PGA Tour?
I don't think the NBA had that real – it's not going to reach that Jordan level again, but I think it was really solid. When you think back to those San Antonio teams, that Pistons team that didn't have a star, but they were really good, and then LeBron showed up, and LeBron and Melo and D-Wade, those guys at least gave it that energy, didn't reach the Jordan level, and maybe now the super team in Golden State is doing that a little bit more. Golf, it was Nicklaus and then a stretch, and it was Tiger and then a stretch. We may not see that for 20, 25 years. Those guys were just different. Those are the two best of the modern era in golf, given the number of wins and the number of majors. If somebody's not going to come along and dominate that with a unique style. Remember, Jack took the mantle from Arnold when TV was booming, and Tiger took the void that wasn't there at all. I don't necessarily know that somebody's going to jump in there in the next 3-5 years and do that.
It's Mike Tirico joining us from Erin Hills, U.S. Open coverage. He's working with the Golf Channel this week. Is it good that we're not talking about Tiger, that it feels like the sport, everybody's kind of moved on? Now they realize it's not going to happen ever again?
It's funny you said that, Dan, because that's almost exactly what I said on the air yesterday. It feels like everybody's moved on. It's not the, Tiger's not here storyline. It's barely mentioned. As a matter of fact, if you didn't mention the fact that it's the first major in so many without Woods and Mickelson, you may not have mentioned Tiger at all here this week. So it's been a couple of years. It's going to be a surprise at this point if he comes back and plays well in the major championships. And I think there's enough evidence now that people have moved on to that reality after being, understandably hopeful that, this surgery may have fixed this surgery may have fixed that. What you've heard now is that this last back surgery is the one that was a difference maker. It was the most in-depth, it was the most invasive, and one that if it didn't work, he might not have been able to play ever again. But it seems to have taken, and the signs are good. But because we've been down this road a few times, I think all of us are waiting. And I do think that given the other stuff that's happened with Tiger, people want to see, one, can he get physically better? Is he mentally better? And can he come out and have 3 or 4 more good years before he's officially done? Ever
have a golfer be upset with something you said?
Yeah, once, and nice guy, too. And he got over it pretty quick. Charles Howell III, we were in a rain delay in Westchester about 13, 14 years ago, and he had just passed Jack Nicklaus in the career earnings. And I just mentioned that fact. I said, that shows you the value of the career earnings. You can never really refer to that stat in terms of quality of a player because Charles Howell's having a nice career, but he's certainly not Jack Nicklaus. And he was not happy. He thought that would better come from Curtis Strange or one of the other analysts that I worked with. my response was, I hope we both have a long career, and when you win your 18th major, I can congratulate you on tying Jack. It's a basic. It was a basic thing, but that was about the only one in 15 years. And Charles and I were fine after that. We get along great every time we run into each other.
He's not going to reach Jack's 18 majors.
Probably not.
No, he's not
the
going
guess is no at this point, but if he does, I do still hope that I'm here to congratulate him on it.
Play nice out there, Mike. Do you find golfers, though, of all the athletes you've been around, who's the most sensitive when it comes to criticism?
That's a good one. I think this is a sensitive sport to it because most people are polite, protective. The majority of the announcers are former golfers, so you kind of tippy-toe around stuff. It's why Johnny is so good and was so disliked, if you will, by some of the players until they realized, hey, the guy's just speaking the truth. College basketball, you were talking about the Louisville situation. College basketball is also a bit of a protected society where the coaches take care of the coaches, and a lot of former coaches are former players. You don't get that sharp criticism. Where in the NFL, it's almost as if you're not critical, you can't even be in position to broadcast the sport. You expect criticism. But I would say golf is right up there because of the individuality, too. Like, I can't blame the left tackle if Rory McIlroy shoots 75. I can't say, boy, their offensive coordinator called bad plays. It's the guy and his score, and there's no hiding.
Have fun this weekend, Mike. Great to talk to you, buddy.
We will, DP. Talk to you guys soon. Hit them straight. Hit those Cowboys straight, will you, please?
I will, as always. Thank you, Mike. I will. A little product placement there with Tirico. He's a pro's pro. I appreciate that.